Hi, thank you so much for tuning in to A Living Brand with your host, Felicia Shakespeare. I am so happy to be here with you yet for another episode. We are still celebrating, right? We just launched back on September the 8th, and here we are, the 23rd. And what is so pivotal about today? Today is the first day of fall, in case you didn't know, on your calendar. It is fall now, so that's why you see the backdrop of fall. We were already given a little hint of that. So thank you for being here once again. So a living brand, once again, we are focused on managing a superior brand, breathing life into your brand. So we're going to talk more about that as the show goes on. Of course, we are here every Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the She Is Still Dope Network, the first network created for purpose-driven women. And speaking of purpose-driven women, my guest tonight is a purpose-driven woman. I am so excited to have her. Her name is Robbie Mathews, and I'm going to let her introduction tell you a little bit more about who she is. All right, let's roll.
Are you ready for some good information? Well, I'm going to disappoint you. I'm not here to inform you. I'm here to towards your money. Learn new norms and habits for saving, spending, and investing. So how do you do that? You have to transform your financial DNA. Each letter in wealthy represents a principle. It's not that complicated. You just got to do it. Wealth mindset. E, entrepreneurship. A, asset management. L, leave a legacy. T, tithing and philanthropy. H, healthy living. And Y, you are in control. You have to change the way you feel about your money. You have to protect it because it is valuable.
All right. Miss Robbie Mathews, welcome to the show tonight.
Hello.
I love it.
Thank you for having me on your show. I'm honored to be here.
All right. Well, I just want to let the audience know, Robbie and I met probably, I would say, about 4 years ago, give or take. We were at the Lisa Nichols event in Chicago. And as a result of a mutual friend, Miss Chantella Richardson, we came together, and we had another mutual friend, Miss Underwood, and that was the day I met you. So I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
So Robbie, once again, is the founder of the Mathews. Actually, she's the president of the Mathews Entrepreneur Group. She is, as you saw, a financial global strategist, as well as an author and an international speaker. So she's so many different things. So Robbie, why don't you just kick it off with telling us just what made you, just tell us a little bit of, let's start at the beginning, because of course a lot of things made you, right? But why don't we just start with the beginning? Where did your passion start for finances?
Okay, that it's kind of one of those things where my passion actually kind of found me. I started out life living on the west side of Chicago, single teenage mom. By the time I was 18, I had 2 kids, ages 4 and 2. So you all can do the math on that one.
And, you're a little frozen, Robbie. I'm sorry. You're a little.
I'm frozen?
The Wi-Fi, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It looks like it's full on my side. So
okay.
It could be because of the weather and everything, but I'm getting all full bars.
Okay.
All right, so apologize. Unfortunately, that's one thing about live. You can't control the in the elements. So
roll with it.
Yeah, you just got to go with the flow.
Okay.
So I was saying, and hopefully, it'll come. The messages will come across. I was a teenage mom, 18, with 2 kids, 4 and 2. I didn't have any guidance on how to take care of kids. I didn't have any education.
Right.
But I had a burning desire to make sure my kids had a better life than I did, right? So I had to figure out how to educate myself. So I got my GED. I got a computer programming certificate. Now I'm going to be dating myself, but I learned how to program computers using punch cards, just to show you how far back.
Okay.
It was before we had these beautiful, iPhones and Androids and PCs and laptops and webcams. No, we didn't have any of that. So I got a really good job, and got my first lesson in financial mismanagement.
Financial mismanagement.
Financial mismanagement, because I didn't have any education on. I knew how to spend money very well because I came from a family of gamblers. So I was always around money and I always had money to spend, but nothing about managing or taking care of the family, right? And we weren't getting any of that in school, even though I wasn't in school. But it wasn't anywhere to for me to learn it. So because I got a good job in a financial services firm, I was able to learn financial principles. And so even though my first introduction to finances was through a credit card, the first job I had gave me an unlimited credit card. Unlimited. That meant I actually called them. I said, well, how much can I put on this? They said, well, you put whatever you want on it. It's unlimited. It's like, ooh. And so, of course, I'm sure ladies, if you had an unlimited credit card, what would you do? Buy whatever you want, right? So anyway, and then I learned this thing called interest that I had really didn't know and understand, and found out that the interest was being charged was more than really what my paycheck was.
Okay.
So I was now in this thing called debt. And so I had to go on another educational journey to figure out how to get my finances in order. And thank goodness I did get another job in a financial services firm that catered to the wealthy.
Okay.
So I was able to, in order to do my job, I had to learn financial principles to write the computer programs in order for them to count their money. So I learned, and not only did I learn, I also applied the principles that I learned, because we all can acquire knowledge and know things, but if you don't apply the knowledge, then you're not going to get the results. So I actually applied the knowledge and went on the journey of self-education, on-the-job training, so to speak,
Right.
on how to better manage my personal finances.
That is so amazing, because when I was looking at I watched your first episode. It's amazing. I don't know what you were talking about. It's amazing. So you all who are just joining us, I am interviewing Robbie Mathews, and she is the founder and actually the president of the Mathews Entrepreneur Group, because her husband and her are business partners. And I know we got to get Mike in that story too. But just your whole journey, and you talked about being homeless in the beginning, no education, on welfare with 4 children when you met your husband. Wow. What an awesome journey. But at the end of the day, look who you are, and look at all of the things that have happened in between. So why don't you tell us a little bit more, after you began to self-educate and just realize you wanted to take control of your life, what is it that made you choose the financial arena? What was it about it? Because I know there's something you want to share, as far as I know it was your mistakes, but what else was it?
Well, during my journey and being in the financial services, even though I was in the financial services business, and those working there, the employees, we still weren't really being financially educated. So because of the nature of my job, I was able to learn more things. So I started sharing what I was learning with some of my coworkers. And as a result of sharing what I was learning, as well as sharing my story, it started motivating and inspiring them to get their financial finances together. And then on the other hand, so I actually started traveling. I was fortunate enough to travel to London for work.
Yeah.
I would be gone, 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time. Now, my husband, Michael, who was my business partner and my soulmate and my best friend, he was writing, before I left, he was writing a murder romance mystery novel.
Okay.
So we had been working on that. And so then I started traveling. When I came home on one trip, and he gave me this manuscript, and it was a financial book. And I'm like, well, what happened to the romance mystery novel? I was looking forward to reading that. And so he said, well, a number of his friends were asking him, his coworkers were asking him, well, what are you doing? Because he was a instructor, a driving instructor and bus operator for Chicago Transit Authority.
Right.
And we had a very nice house. We both had really nice cars. We were always well dressed because we had learned together when we got together. We managed our finances as a family.
Right.
Because a house divided will fall. Right. So we were on the same journey from a financial perspective. And so he said, well, he decided to write it down. And that's what we discovered beside his murder, romance, mystery writing talent, that he really just had a talent for writing. And so he wrote the book, and we had to figure out, how to publish it and how to print it and, get it and do all that. So we did that and start, selling the book to our, friends and coworkers to really kind of help them. But this was right at the 2007, right before the 2008 economic collapse.
Okay.
And the good thing is because we were practicing what we preached in the book, we were able to weather that economic crisis. So by the time it started rebounding, we were on the rebound, and we were able to, even grow our savings and things even more so. And then in 2012, he retired from, now the traditional word retire, from CTA. Because he has some back issues being on that bus, you bouncing on the bus and driving year after year, that kind of takes on you, right? So
right.
we decided that he was going to update the book, bring it up to date, and we were going to embark on a journey of financial education because we saw how what we were sharing with people were impacting them, and so we wanted to continue that. I was still working at the time. And so we were going to go to churches and organizations and things like that, do some workshops and sell the book and, kind of help people with their personal finances. But we ran into a person who encouraged us to think about it at a much larger level, that we should start speaking and sharing the message on not just a local level, on a global level.
Absolutely.
And, I've always never turned down any kind of challenges. So we said, well, hey, let's go for it. So we traveled to South Africa and spoke in front of 1,200 people from all over the world and shared our what we called our 7 Live Wealthy principles, which you kind of saw in the intro.
Right.
We had developed as from our book and from our experiences is how we live our life. These are the things and the principles that we take into consideration. So we shared that, and that from that moment forward, it just kind of took off. So it kind of found us from people reaching out and looking to us to help them learn more and to get a handle on their finances. So it became our business, and it became our passion, which then also became our business.
And I love your tagline. I'm not here to inform you. I'm here to transform you. Exactly. I love it. That goes right along with everything we all about here on this program and then on She Is Still Dope, because we know it all starts in the way we think. And so many people, once they get the understanding that, guess what, you have the capability and the capability to do whatever it is that you need to do if you are willing to sacrifice, right? If you're willing to discipline yourself, it can be done. And I think when I think of you and I met you guys, I thought of my dad. Because I think I always share with you how my dad was always and even my brother, he had to help. He was always the one that always saved his money, and his sister was always borrowing his money to spend his money. and it was so funny. My mom told me years ago.
I was better to spend somebody else's money.
Right. I was always spending my brother's money as a kid.
I spent Michael's money all the time too.
And he told my mom, I think he said when we were younger, this is my oldest brother. He said, I'm gonna have to take care of Felicia when we grow up, I think. Because he just felt like he was, but anyway, long and short, just that it took so much discipline. And I think I always tell people, there's 2 things I wish I would have done if I could do over. Now that I know what I know, I would have listened to my father when it came down to financial principles. Because at 12 years old, Robbie, it starts at a young age. He was telling us how to save, but you know how we are. We don't want to listen. We want to do it our way. We know everything, right? We think. And I just really, look back at that. And then as time went on, one time I took the time, I added up all of my tax returns. And I'm like, look at all this money I've earned, over my lifetime up to this point. You just really have to face reality. But I will say, I can say once I made the switch of getting away from the fear, and that may be one of your principles, but I'm gonna have you talk about that. But the fear of facing, a lot of people don't want to face their finances. They don't want to face what they have to be accountable for. So why don't you start telling us a little bit more about those principles and why you came up with and how appropriate. You're on a living brand, right? Living wealthy. That is just so appropriate. So what are the principles, or however you're going to take it from here? Just share more about how people should just get started and overcome the fear of what they don't understand about finances.
Okay. Well, one thing, my show, Living Wealthy, is about the principles. So really to get the real in-depth about it, you got to watch the show.
Okay, we're going to talk about that too. Robbie has a new show too, guys.
I give you some kind of highlights on the principles.
Okay.
The first one is the main one that we focus on, and that's the wealth mindset. Because you really have to change how you think, act, and feel about your money. And it's really, like I said, I can give you all the information. You can Google all the information that you want, right? It's all out there. But if you don't change your fundamental DNA as it comes to money, relates to money, then you're going to just repeat the same habits. Even if you get out of debt, if you follow steps and you get yourself out of debt, say you pay off all those credit cards, and oh my goodness, I'm feeling good, I paid off my credit card, but you still have the same old habits, the same old norms, and you're going to do the same old thing all over again, right? So you have to really go through a transformational process and actually live. And wealthy, don't get it confused with being a millionaire or billionaire or things like that. Wealth is abundance, and wealth is a degree. So how much money, how much abundance, how many good relationships do you want? What kind of impact do you want to make in the world? What's internal fulfillment do you want? So it's wealth is abundance.
Yes.
And you define what you want as your abundance, and then you set a plan and you go after it, right? So the whole wealth mindset, you have to change how you think about your money. You have to change how you act towards your money, and you actually have to change how you feel about your money. And it goes back to what you were saying about fear, right? Especially as women, and fear is not gender limited, but as women, we do fear numbers and the math and the money and everything, and that comes from the cultural and educational impacts that we've endured over the years.
Right.
So the fear of being wealthy, or the fear of having money, is rooted in a whole lot of different influences. and I go into more in depth on that in the show about the different influences and how they change and affect how we think. So the first principle, wealth mindset, is where you start.
Right.
Because once you understand and you start looking at how you're spending your money and why you're spending your money a certain way, then you can make some changes. Now, don't get me wrong, I love to have all the stuff I want. I want everything I need, all I want, but do it in a way that won't send you in a downward spiral where you buy something, oh, I love it, and then the bill comes out and now I'm depressed.
Exactly.
Now I have to buy something else to make myself feel better, and the bill comes out and now I'm depressed all over again. So you have to do things in a reasonable and responsible way, so that you can get all the things that you want, but also enjoy them.
Absolutely.
Right. And not only that, but to pass it down and pass it forward. So you have to go through life. You understand what you need to survive. As 3 categories that I talk about. How to survive. That's your food and water and all that. How to thrive. How does your money grow to continue to support you through your lifetime, what you pass on to the next generation. How do you thrive? How do you thrive? How do they thrive? And then how to feel alive. That's where you buy your fun stuff and the things that you don't need. But oftentimes we put the feel alive in front of the survive so we can think we can survive, right? We have to have that dress. We have to have those shoes, or we have to have that. We got to have it. We need it. We want it. Got to have it. But what about your light bill? Your
Right.
gas bill, things like that. So it's all in what you want in your life. What's important to you. And once you determine that, and once you understand how you're spending, why you're spending the way you're spending, and look at your wealth mindset, then you'll be able to make some adjustments.
Absolutely.
If you can't see it, you can't fix it.
And I think I think we even had this conversation. We go the full gamut, right? I think we're both from the West Side, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
right? And we already know. Everybody say West Side. The West Side of Chicago, it gets a bad rap. And guess what? In some cases, rightfully so, in the sense of the level of the disparity of wealth, the lack of resources in some cases, and what, like you say, visually, we were probably subjected to. So it's just really amazing. But it's so true what you're saying about mindset, because even though I'm from, that was never a limitation for me. It never crossed my mind that I was from the West Side, and that was a stigma. It's Chicago, South Side versus West Side or whatever. You got to be here to know how that goes. And every city has their own little thing. Right? The South Side versus the West Side here, particularly in Black culture. But like you said, many people, and we keep talking about this. Many people they don't open up their experiences, and they can't see beyond where they are because of their circumstances and because of where they are. So it's so important. So what was it that continued? If you want to go on with the principles, but like what was it that pulled you out of that mindset? Because that you had to have something happen to let you know that it was time to change your mind. What was that thing?
Well, it was my children. I mean, because I didn't want them to have the same life that I had.
Okay.
I wanted them to have, a house in a nice neighborhood, with friends where they could be safe and not around, the different elements. So it was because of what I didn't have is what I wanted for them.
Absolutely.
And I knew I needed to find a legitimate way to get it. So that was really, my children we grew up, technically we kind of grew up together, right? So I wanted to make sure that they had a good start in life and had the things that they needed and wanted. But again, I didn't know, how to start out, but I did know I needed to educate myself, because what I knew is what I didn't know.
Okay.
Right? But I always, when I did go to school, I was always a good learner. I felt like because I went from school to school, different school, so I can't even count how many schools I went to, just because of the lifestyle that I had, right? With my mother and going different places. But excuse me, I was able to make friends fairly quickly and learn things. So I liked education. And then when I went to control data, which is I went to control data to learn how to program. And it was, I don't know, it was just something about it was a commercial that came on TV. I was sitting on the floor. I'll never forget this, in the middle of the floor. And I was sitting there and I was watching, watching TV with the kids. I don't know what I was watching at the time. And this control data, learn how to program computers. Now I've seen computers, on the TV, the big computers and all the lights and everything. I was like, learn how to program. I said, that sounds pretty interesting. Didn't even know what it was. But anyway, it sounded interesting. So I contacted Control Data, went there, and they told me about it. And then they gave me a good shocker and said, well, do you have your high school diploma? And I was like, no. And so you have to have a high school diploma. So I had to go back and get my general education diploma, my GED. And then as soon as I got it, I went back to them. And then they hit me with another bombshell like, oh, you got to pay for it.
Okay.
Okay.
Back to finances.
Well, I didn't have any money. But there are people out there in this world that help you,
Yes.
willing to help you. If they know that you're determined and you're willing to help yourself and pull yourself up, there are people out there to help
Very
you.
true.
And the lady, to this day, I don't remember what her name was, but she was in the financial aid office or whatever you called it back then. And she said, well, I'm going to find some money for you so you can go to this school.
Wow.
She did. I guess I got a grant. I don't know what it was. All I know is I went to Control Data and I didn't have to pay any money to go to Control Data. And I got my little certificate in computer programming. So I know I was ready to go. Gonna find me a good job, a good market rent paying job. And so I went about the journey, and that's when I got the jobs, and I was able to take care of my kids and eventually into corporate America, which is a whole nother conversation. Going into corporate America as a little black, 19-year-old teenage mother going into corporate America.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I always had the determination that nobody can tell me I can't do, or
Absolutely.
stop me from doing what I need to do for my children. So I always stood up for myself. I was always fearless, in that sense, because I really didn't feel like I had anything to lose. I mean, when you're at a certain point, you're like, well, it's a job. If I can't get this job, I'm gonna go find me another job, right? So it just wasn't like, oh my goodness, I gotta be quiet. I can't. No, I don't like that, and no, don't speak to me like that. And yeah, this is what I think. So obviously, it worked.
Wow.
Because I was able to, rise, get, promoted and rise, become a vice president in the financial services firm, coming from a GED to, becoming a vice president. But I also was able to go to night school, fully paid tuition to go to night school, and I eventually got my master's degree. Going to doing that with raising kids, working full time, and going to night school. So it was an adventure.
I tell you, we have more parallels than I do, Robbie, because I earned my undergrad in the evening program locally. Of course, also started in the finance sector, and then ultimately left that program and graduated after my. I had one semester left when I started my job at IBM. So many parallels, but we want to keep this moving. So here you are now. You are the VP of this company. You have this wealth mindset. You understand your why, which is your children. Ultimately, your family is motivating you, what you want for them. When did the pivot happen for you and Michael, particularly, to pivot over to entrepreneurship and continue this journey? Of course, you told us a little bit already about people gravitating to the book, but when was it that you knew that you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Because that is the name of your company, the Mathews Entrepreneur Group. So I know there's some parallels with that too.
Well, the good thing, like I said, about being in financial services and being around, these brilliant people with minds and businesses, people you can talk to. So just talking to some of the leaders and in my company about starting this, especially when we did the book. So my first thought was like, okay, well, we got a book. I'm gonna have this income and all this stuff, and I understood from a business because I did take accounting. And that's when the accounting part kicked in, because accounting has nothing to do with your personal finances, by the way. You accounting majors out there, I love you, but it has nothing to do with your personal finances. It has to do with business and balancing books. So I knew from a business standpoint that if I had more income coming in, I understood income taxes as well, that I needed expenses to offset that income. So that I don't, so that Uncle Sam, this person that is somehow called my uncle that I don't even know who he is not related to me, gets all my money. So I had to figure out a way that he didn't get all my money. So we decided to incorporate our business with the books so that we could write off the expenses and the mileage and the gas and the all of that stuff that a business can write off. So
Okay.
that's kind of, so in a way, it wasn't like we were becoming entrepreneurs. We were forming a business for tax purposes.
Okay.
And then it just became a business as we ventured through when we started speaking. Right? It's like, okay, more things to write off, more income coming in. We need, so then we start understanding it's a business, and we have to, conduct it as a business and not just as kind of a side thing, a side hustle, right?
Right.
So like I said, it just kind of, everything happened. So we had to adjust to what was happening in our life. So we had to, we started the book. So we had to put business around the book in order to make sure, our income and stuff was protected and not all going to Uncle Sam. But it also has, a business also protects your personal assets as well. You separate your business and your personal. They're two totally different things, and you must keep them separate. So,
Absolutely.
these are the things on my journey of self-education and working in a financial services firm, a Fortune 500 financial services firm that cater to the wealthy people. I get to talk to wealthy people, and I get to get the tips so I applied what I learned from them.
So now here we are. The business is taking off. Now let's just not play with it. You've been on stages with the likes of Les Brown. I mean, you've been on the stage with the likes of J.T. Fox. If anyone is out in these speaking streets of these these motivational worldwide streets, you kind of know those names. So how did those doors? So once again, you talked about people gravitating to the topic. You and Michael saying, "Okay, this is much needed." Do you have a copy? Tell people the name of your book again, so they'll know.
It's Financially Speaking, and I am at home. Michael.
Financially Speaking.
Financially Speaking, the best improvement starts with self-improvement. I usually have it right here.
It's all right. So
Michael, bring me a book, please, honey.
See, that's what happens on live. We can go live.
Right, I'm live.
No worries.
I'm real.
No worries.
I'm authentic. It's like.
Yeah, we're gonna be authentic. So I want them to hear and see this. A beautiful book, and I even have a copy. Of course, we both move, so some things are packed up. But long and short, you've had the opportunity. When did the pivot come now to even take it to the globe? I know you talked about the invitation globally. What else have you done, and what pivoted you to want to be global? Because I know you all do have clients literally from all over the world at this time for your business.
Yes. Well, funny you mentioned J.T. Fox, because he's actually the person that started us on our global journey.
Okay.
Because we went to one of his seminars. I was surfing the net one night, and I saw he was having a event to make you a better speaker. And so I was like, well, Michael, if we're going to be calling ourselves talking to people, maybe we should learn how to speak better, I guess, So we decided to go to his event. And it was at that event that Michael had the opportunity to interview Mike Ditka. And we came up with a question. We had to come up with a question. And the question we came up with was, how does something about the athletes and financial, how do they manage their finances and athletes and losing money and things like that? Mike Dick was like, oh my God, that is the best question anyone has ever asked me. And he was saying how it's important and critical that our athletes that's getting all this money, they learn how to manage it, and because they have, just like me, I started making money, but I didn't know about managing money. I didn't know anything about it. I had to learn it, but I had to learn it on my own. So he was saying how important that was, and so it just started to resonate that this topic is something that we really should do. And then JT Fox offered us the opportunity to go to Africa, South Africa, to speak in South Africa. And while we were there, we were interviewed on South African television. We were interviewed in several newspapers, on the radio, and and what we found was so amazing is that they have the same financial issues that we do. we see stuff on television, and you think people are so totally different. They're the same. They have the same goals, the same dreams, the same financial issues, not saving enough money, spending too much money, not making enough money. They want to send their kids to college. They want to do buy homes, and they want to do all the same things that we want to do here.
Absolutely.
And so the principles that we talk about and what we come up with are the same. They're global. They're not just specific to a person or individual. They are global and unique. Everyone needs to develop a wealth mindset. Everyone needs to develop an entrepreneurial spirit, which is where you get your financial independence from. Everyone needs to learn how to manage their assets, right? Everyone should give back to the community, tithe, and through, there's a difference between tithe and philanthropy. And your health. Okay, what's more important, your health or your wealth? You need to understand how your health impacts your finances. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry, and then leaving a legacy. What are you leaving behind? It's not just about the material things you leave behind, but it's what are you leaving inside of them to allow them to thrive and move forward. So, and
Absolutely.
today, the why is you. Only you can change your destiny. No one else can do that for you. You are the one that's in control of your destiny. So that's what the wealthy stands for. Your mindset, your entrepreneurship, your asset management, leaving a legacy, tithing, philanthropy, healthy living, and why. You are the one
Okay.
that's in
Uh,
control.
Can we do it one at a time? So the W is for what? Wealthy.
Mindset.
Wealthy mindset. What's the E?
Not wealthy mindset, wealth mindset.
Wealth mindset. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
And the E,
Entrepreneurship,
entrepreneurship.
asset management,
A is asset management. Can you talk a little bit about asset management? What that? Just an overview, so people that don't know that term.
managing your cash.
Just managing your cash.
Your asset, your biggest asset is your cash. You
Okay,
manage that well, then you can buy more assets.
so we are going over for those who are joining us, we are going over the acronym of wealthy in the living wealth for the living wealthy mindset, which is what Robbie is promoting in her brand. Okay, and then after the A, what do we have?
Leave a legacy.
Leave a legacy.
Yeah, what are you leaving behind? That's with the L. And the
Okay.
T is tithing and philanthropy. Is giving back to much whom is given, much
Right.
in return. H is healthy living.
Absolutely.
Because what's more important, health or your wealth. And why? You are the one that's in control.
And even right now, I'm glad you brought that up about your health and your wealth. What would you say, because we have been, of course, in a global pandemic, and I'm sure and I know this is a very sensitive topic for many people. Many people have lost their income, lost their jobs. They've had to pivot and do something different. Also, many people have lost their lives at this point in time.
Exactly.
So what type of advice would you say, and what you want to leave with individuals who are very discouraged right now, and they just feel like, you know what, Robbie, that sounds good, but I'm really struggling. I'm really starting over. What would you say to those individuals tonight?
Yeah, well, this is the opportunity to learn, right? I mean, you don't want to repeat what happened prior to COVID.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to learn, and the three things that as you start getting yourself back together, because I have faith that people are going to recover. They're going to recover financially. The economy is going to open up, but you have to be prepared. You have to change from what you were doing with your finances before the pandemic to what you're going to do now post pandemic, or while we're still in the pandemic, because we're not post yet. But emergency fund. If you make a dollar, save a nickel. If you make $5, save a dollar.
Save
Something of what you make. Put it to the side. Put it in an envelope. Put it under your mattress. Just put it somewhere. Have an emergency fund. Save. Number one. Number two is some trying to get out of debt. You need more money to get out of debt, but don't acquire more debt.
right.
One factor, what I talk about in the show, but I'm gonna share here, is that during the pandemic in 2020 COVID pandemic, Nike made $28 billion on footwear during a lockdown. So
How did that happen?
people were buying the shoes and walking around the house. Hey, I don't know what they were, where they were walking because we were in a lockdown and worldwide lockdown.
Right.
Okay, but they made $28 billion. Why were people spending money on Nike shoes from either the paycheck or the stimulus check? Because it was either one of the two. Why were they doing that? Why weren't they putting that money into under the mattress in the savings somewhere, right? So we have to change our thought process, to change our mindset, and start
Right.
living, right? And not acquiring more debt. And I understand that many people had to go into debt and put, to pay buy food and to rent. Those things are your survival needs. I don't care what you need to do. You do what you need to do for your survival needs. I'm talking about all that other stuff that's not necessary right now. And that's where the sacrifice comes in at, where you have to start sacrificing some things in order to get yourself out the hole. You can't crawl out the hole when the walls are crumbling. You have to build a foundation so you can step yourself up out of the hole. So you start with saving what you have.
Absolutely.
And then the third most critical is life insurance and estate planning.
Yes.
I don't know how many, and GoFundMe to bury my father, GoFundMe to bury my mother. Go when you can get life insurance at a reasonable cost to take care of that and to help you survive and thrive after your loved one passes on. And even in today, insurance, life insurance is different. It's not like grandma, had a little policy, that so she could, you could put her away. She didn't want to burden her family. That same mentality still exists today. But you have to expand that mentality. It's not just a matter of money to bury a person, it's a money for that person and that family to live onward and to thrive onward. So you have to think of it differently. And while you're still living, you can also take advantage of life insurance while you're living. It's called living insurance now. It's not called death insurance. It's called living insurance. And there's ways that you can live off of your insurance while you're still here and still leave money for your family.
That's right.
That's part of the education, part of wanting to learn and being willing to learn. And estate planning. Don't think of estate planning as multi-million dollars estate. If you got a ring from grandma you want to pass on to your daughter, your son, or whoever, write it down. That's your estate. If you got that car that you love to rub on and shine on, write it down. That's part of your estate. Estate planning is just a series of documents that determine your wishes if you are unable to be here to carry them out yourself. And one thing I ask people, and I tell them, I said, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to listen to the hospital sounds. You're in a hospital. You hear the beeps and all that. You hear people talking, but you can't say anything. You can't see anything. You can't say anything, but you can hear. And the doctor comes up and says, I think we might have to pull the plug. And you hear somebody say, yeah, just pull the plug. Now, my question is, who is that person? Is that the person you want to have their hands on your life support?
Right.
If it's not, if you don't make those decisions for yourself, if you don't write down your healthcare wishes, then that person, one of them trifling children, excuse me, I don't have any of those, but when you're trifling children, or that ex that came in and said, that's my wife, that ex, or the young cutie wife that like, ooh, yeah, it's time for him to go pull the plug. You better write it down. You better write it down. And to protect your assets, to write it down. And put your money in a trust or put it in something to protect it and have it going forward and protect it from that man called Uncle Sam. Aretha Franklin had to pay over 13 to 14 million dollars in taxes from her estate when she passed.
I believe it.
From all, because we won't listen to the advice and the how to protect your assets, your estate plan, your trust setup is there. It's just paperwork. You don't have to be wealthy. It's just paperwork. Anybody, I don't care how much money, you can make $1 a week. You can have a will on a trust. Just write it down.
It's so true, and it amazes me how many people that we've seen in recent years, particularly celebrities, that had millions and
Yeah.
just had, they were considered what we consider wealthy.
Right.
And they had no cognizance of,
Right. No
like
trust,
you say, no
no legal,
structure.
no instructions, no anything. And so it's
No.
just, so those are the three things I would say. Save a nickel, save a dollar, save something. Start building the foundation for you to get yourself out of that debt hole that a lot of people had to go into with COVID. But there's a lot of people that were still working and still making a lot of money. So this applies for them as well. They were fortunate that they didn't, become affected in that sense, or their finances weren't affected in that. I mean, our finances weren't really truly affected because the services that we provide is universal
Right.
to people, and then the third is your protection, your asset protection, which is you as your asset. You are an asset, right? You're an asset to your family, so you have to protect yourself and write down and provide the funding and the necessary documents to ensure that your family can move forward and you're not depending on strangers in the ethernet to bury your mama or to bury your child.
Okay.
Okay, so some people may not like to hear that, but it's reality, and that's what's going on in life. And so oftentimes we try to tiptoe around certain things, but I don't. I'm going to just tell you straight. Those are the three things that you can do. It doesn't require money. Of course, you have to save a nickel, save a dollar, save something.
It requires, what it requires is discipline, right?
If you got money to spend, you got money to save. You're just not saving it and it's not spending it on saving.
And like I said, as I was sharing with you in the beginning, how my father was just that person that knew how to save and manage money. He just has such a discipline to sacrifice. He wouldn't buy clothes. It was so serious for him. He guarded his credit atrociously. You couldn't loan. He taught us never to loan our cars. It was just certain things he would just it's just basic stuff that people do. But it was like these old school principles that really were effective and really worked. And just really, when he would walk on a car lot, he was able to get a vehicle. People would judge him by by a cover, but then they pull up their credit report and you had 800 to 900 scores. It was like, oh, okay, it's a whole different mindset because people just aren't used to seeing sometimes certain cultures on a greater scale. I'll say it that way, on a greater scale in that light, because it's just unfortunately, what either the media has purported or also what, unfortunately, some of the images we've allowed. But as we wrap it up, I want to just run through this real quick. So the wealthy habits, number one, we're talking about the living wealthy.
Living wealthy.
Living wealth. The wealth mindset is 1. 2, entrepreneurship. 3, asset management. 4, leave a legacy. 5, we know this, tithing, philanthropy, healthy living is 6, and the why is you are in control. So Robbie, as we wrap up tonight, what's on the horizon for you? What do you have coming up? I know we showed the video in the beginning, so if you haven't, you can actually see the rewind if you're just joining us. But of course, you're launching your show on the JB3 TV network. Shout out to Cara and James Dentley, some great people here in the Chicagoland area that are just movers and shakers. So I know you're excited about that. Tell us what you have on the horizon. And
well, actually, filming my show. That's why I'm kind of a little dressed up at the moment. I actually just came in from the studio where I was shooting episode 4. So I've got another. So each wealthy principle will be a series. So the wealth mindset principle, there are 3 episodes surrounding the wealth mindset principle, and then the next one is entrepreneurship. There's going to be 4 episodes.
Okay.
Entrepreneurship. So each one will have its own series. So just finished the wealth mindset series. Hope to have that up in the next couple weeks or so. It's in the edit, as they say, it's in the can. So the production team is working on it. But that's my focus. Also, I always like to be fully transparent. I am a licensed insurance agent. But I'm not pushing life insurance because I'm an agent. I'm pushing life insurance because I'm a financial coach and I'm a financial educator. And I want you to understand the options that you have out there that can help you support your family, to help you grow your money, help you keep your money, and help you protect your family and protect yourself. So that's why, I mean, you can call whoever you want, Allstate, State Farm, or you can call me, whoever. I'm not here to say just, oh, well, just only deal. No, I'm not here to say that. I'm here to say if you want to protect yourself, protect your family, learn how to grow your money, go somewhere you're going to be educated. Go to people who are going to educate you first and not just try to sell you something. Because I'd never sell insurance. I don't sell insurance. I provide financial education.
Absolutely.
Options, and then you decide what's best for you.
So I promise you, I'm gonna get you out of here on time tonight. Tell us, because you're doing all these things. We have the show, we have the insurance, we have the books.
Oh, how much we're doing?
Go ahead.
Well, the books. Yes, the book. Actually, so Michael, Michael is the creative, right? He loves to write. So now he's spun off his own division called We Create Books.
Right.
So he is helping authors get their book out of their head so it can be published and read. And he's helped over so far 30 people actually either write their books or write their chapters and get those out there and get published. So
awesome.
So way we work now in tandem, he helps them make the money and I help them keep and protect and grow the money.
Beautiful. Where can we find this? What's the best way to get to you for your business endeavors? What is the website you want to share?
Well, for now, reach out to me at JD3TV
at
tmeginc.com. That's JD3TV at tmeginc.com.
Okay.
Because everything is moving so fast, we have to revamp revamp the websites and do all that stuff. But we just haven't had time because things are moving so fast. So just anyone has any questions, they want information on the show, they would like a free personal discovery session, contact me at jd3tv.com. I'm sorry, jd3tv at tmeginc.com, and they can catch the show on jd3tv.com.
All right. So Gabe, you dropped that jd3tv.com to catch the show. And I know Robbie's being very, of course, when you're doing something new, sometimes but I saw the first episode. You don't want to miss it. You can go right in there right now and find the first episode introducing what's coming. And it's going to make you want to stay and only get more. So Robbie, I want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time. And we will be in touch. Right. And give my best to Michael as always. And I know you guys are almost like another set of parents for me, right? Oh, absolutely. Every time I'm just like, okay, gotta know when to hold them and fold them, right? And we'll have those talks, and then it veers off into those things that you may not want to hear. But I'm always happy to talk to you because you're always sharing some knowledge and things that help me think to a different level. So I want to thank you for being here tonight.
Oh, you're more than welcome. And
all right.
Michael he's on a Zoom call, so he couldn't bring in the book, but Amazon, financially speaking, Michael Bart Mathews. Google him, or what do you call it? Search for Michael Bart Mathews, and then the book Financially Speaking: The Best Improvement Starts with Self-Improvement comes up, or his other book, Finding Your Moment of Clarity. Mm-hmm. And or you can go to our website. You can type our website in. It's tmeginc.com.
Okay.
tmeginc.com to the bookstore. The books are there as well.
Awesome. Well, we thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. I'll see you soon. Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Okay. See you, Robbie. So thank you so much again, Robbie Mathews, doing a great work. I know we can't get it all in one night. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? But definitely check her out on jd3tv.com for her show, Living Wealthy. And I want to thank you once again for being here for A Living Brand. And I wanted to say don't forget to go on social media and follow a living brand, which is the handle everywhere on Instagram, on Facebook, TikTok, everywhere. You know, this brand has come alive now, and I'm excited to share, you know, even the things that are coming up. And one thing I just want to highlight tonight in particular is the athleisure wear. And just make sure, you know, you go onto the website. I think I wanted Gabe to bring that up real quick. Just bring up the website just real quick before we go, Gabe. I want you to make sure, go ahead to alivingbrand.com. This is our beautiful site created by the Hustle Agency. An amazing, amazing, amazing experience. So definitely support that organization as well. But if we go to the shop session, I actually wanted you to take it to the shop on the website. I wanted people to kind of see some of the things that are out there. If you go back to the web page for me. Yeah, and if you click on it, we're going to go to, this must be the graphic, I guess. Okay, so that's okay. So when you go to the website, please go up to the top where you see shop, and you will see the athleisure wear line. I am so stoked over this line. As we're on, she is still dope. That line is so dope. It's just beautiful. Something for everyone, something for men, something for women, and as well as the book products that I've written as well. So we just want you to just get on there and just get you something, and just browse around and just take a look at all the things that are being planned for you. So once again, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. Once again, join me every single Wednesday night here on the She Is So Dope Network at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And once again, we thank you for being here. Tell a friend. We are bringing, you know, I'm still planning some, every week we want to bring something new and fresh to you. Still got some more guests coming in the queue. We're just going to make it as exciting as we can. So God bless you. And just be encouraged tonight. Just know that no matter where you are in the situations that you're dealing with in regards to your finances or your life, you have a purpose, right? God has a plan for your life. There's something that you have to do that no one will be able to do in the way that you can. So just stay the course. If I would close with that, stay the course, keep the faith. And until next time, I'll see you right here next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. God bless.